dissatisfaction writes itself across affairs. Huh? Constant complaining, endless comparison with others, even with our younger self, perpetual disappointment. All of this create a kind of hardness that no amount of serum and moisturizer can erase. How about that? Huh? My fascinating Renaissance friends, welcome to episode 211. All right, my last episode ended with just contentment, says there, and we talked about the real meaning of what Epicurus said, which have been misapplied, misinterpreted, misunderstood by modern man. Okay, that gave rise to hedonism. Okay, that statement, pleasure is the ultimate good and the ultimate goal of man, where he defined true pleasure as not getting what we want, but wanting less. Okay, and he called it ataraxia, which is a complete peace, freedom from anxiety, freedom from unfulfilled desires, remember? And he said, just contentment. Aha. All right. So that's what we're going to take up here. Right? What is this thing about contentment? And contentment, what has contentment have to do with glow up, with aging or looking older or younger than our chronological age. Okay? So I guess what we're really saying is we have to make peace with life. Make peace with life. Develop the capacity, okay, to appreciate what we already have while waiting for the things that we still desire and want. In fact, I I was in a quandary myself. I told you already. I guess even if I didn't tell you straight to the point, by now 211 episodes from episode 1 and 3, you may have a very, very clear idea already that I am an achievement oriented woman, that I have looked at life, from different angles, that I have very strong opinions about things. Basically, the from the words of my friends, I have actually achieved what they've always wanted to achieve in their entire life, and they would change positions with me at a heartbeat. Well, I suppose that says it all. No? So I have been and still is, and still am, sorry. I have been and still am an ambitious woman. I know. How is ambition, how can ambition live side by side with the resonance life that you have decided and designed for your life as an antidote to the hustle culture? I thought, Miss Malu, you have left the hustle culture. I have left. All right, this is my resonance life, but does that mean that I have given up ambition? Does that mean that I no longer have big dreams? I told you that. Go back to episodes 198, 198 until now. You get back there, and the answer is no. I'm still as ambitious as I am, but I still and I have begun to live the resonance, life. Okay, so I guess what it really means is if we find a balance, between the beauty of the life we have right now, while waiting, okay, for the beauty of the life that we desire, okay, in the future. We talked about that, isn't it? Okay? So, Contentment, is contentment lives in this balance, really. It lives in this very balance between appreciating the beauty of the life that we have now while we are, while we are expectantly waiting for the fulfillment of our next set of dreams. That's where contentment lies. Let me give you a very, very personal example. Okay, first the context of my example. I learned this hack, from a financial guru that I have heard for the first time, and it struck me as wow. This is a very, very practical advice, and in fact, he wrote a book. I will teach you how to be rich, which is really wonderful. And I think he has a Netflix documentary also. Okay, and he mentioned something like this. A very wonderful formula. For building your own wealth. No matter how much you earn, you don't have to be a trillionaire to be able to do this. Okay, he said, for every paycheck, for every amount you receive, make this division. 50% goes to monthly expenses. Everything there, 50% of it, whatever, no matter. So this is not dollar or peso equivalent because that's very hard to do. Just get 50%. Okay. So live within that. Then the next 20% is for savings going to investment so that you have passive income. The miracle of compounding. Okay? 20%. The next 20% is for emergencies. Like you leverage if you lose your income. For the next couple of months, you have that. So I guess what he said that at least you have 6 months monthly expenses right there. Yeah, I wanted 6 months, but now I'm trying to build it for 1 year because I don't have a regular job. I am a consultant, so it's by project. So if I don't get a project for a year, will I survive without touching my investment? Yeah. Okay, that's it. And then the last one is, okay, 50, 20, 20. Then the last one, 10% is what he called guilt-free spending. Guilt-free. So which means you just spend to do anything with it. Buy your favorite, your favorite shoes that you've been trying to eye. Go travel guilt-free. Okay, and that's what I'm following. Okay, so um, I want my 10% guilt-free spending to increase to be able so that I can expand my purchasing capability. I want it to increase. All right. Now, mm, I have a certain sum in peso equivalent, and I have not, reached that. All right. So instead of lamenting, instead of really focusing on what I don't have, all right, I will, I will now think quality over quantity. Okay. Quality over quantity. Example, I want to visit 2 to 3 exotic places within a year. That's an example. Okay? 2 to 3 exotic, destinations, within a year. Since my 10% guilt-free spending fund will not afford that, okay, instead of lamenting, I will just choose one destination, not scrimp on the expenses, but just one destination for a year. Just one quality destination for a year instead of 2 to 3 mediocre ones and not be satisfied. So I get, to experience, the beauty of life now with what I have while still waiting for my guilt-free spending fund, to increase. And there I find my contentment. I'm happy, I'm contented. At the same time, I am looking forward to, what the future holds for me. So in conclusion, let me just read this, okay? Contentment will show in the ease of your smile and the lightness of your presence that create the inner glow that no external treatment can replicate, no matter how many Botox treatments you have. Okay? So laugh often and easily because the wrinkles it produces is a signal that you're living a life worth smiling about. Eh? Okay? So now again is a rephrase. Wrinkles are not something to be afraid of. Wrinkles, is a proof that you are living a life worth smiling about. That's contentment as far as I'm concerned. So tell me, what aspects of your current life is it worth smiling about? You tell me. Right? And together, we'll continue navigating this autumn of life, in this season of life, my channel, for all of you, my friends. And until then, goodbye.